So let's get into the technical things. So we are basically going to be making a 1-by-1 Instagram and Facebook ad for a skincare related brand. Our width is going to be 1080 pixels, height 1080, and then resolution 72. You want to select the color mode as a RGB, and then for this instance, you want to make sure that the Artboards box is ticked. So the reason why I said that your artboard section must be selected is we're going to be duplicating the artboard later on. This will enable us to edit the core artboard, and then will make it easier for us to export it to make a GIF or MP4. To the right over here, I've got a libraries panel. This is already loaded with all the brand colors as well as 4 images of the products that we're going to be showcasing. It also has the representation of the skin brand logo. We're not going to be using a real logo for this design tutorial. So the 4 images that we have here are all product photos of the different products. It's going to be based around a package of 4 products. So select these, bring them in. These you'll see are already cut to the size of a quarter of the 1080 pixel artboard. This is to make sure that every corner, every image fits perfectly within each other to fit within the whole artboard without crossing over or overlapping with each other. So you bring in place, 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 place. Going to be selecting each one by one. You're going to be selecting left align, top align, next, top align, right align, right align, bottom line, left align, bottom line. So there we've got all the images lined up perfectly to the edges. Just make sure that the images that you cropped out don't have any white edges, or that they overlap in the middle over here. So what we can also do is we can pull in the guides to make sure that everything that we're going to be bringing in is center. So let's jump into the text and logo. So what we're basically going to be doing is the logo that you brought in over here will be scalable. So this is the size that we saved out of an Illustrator file that I just quickly made a mock-up of. And this is just going to be serving as the brand logo. So we're going to be basing our text based on the look of the logo block over here. So with all the images and the logo imported onto your artboard, you're going to be taking a look over here towards your layers panel. So you'll be seeing the logo, image 1, 2, 3, 4, the photos of the products, and then you'll be able to delete the bottom layer as we won't be seeing it anymore. So what we're going to be doing next is going to be adding a layer on top. This is where our text is going to be based. We're first going to be doing a white background and then be adding the text on top of that, because we do want to make a proper contrasting image that will be promoting the product itself. So what we're going to be doing is going to be selecting rectangular Marquee Tool. Just going to be click and drag. You're going to select white, and then you're going to be pushing G. This is a shortcut for the paint bucket tool, or you can always just select it over here. Click, deselect by selecting Control D. So there we've got the white background. we want to adjust the size over here. Let's make it a 280, but before we type in the height over here, you want to make sure that it's unlinked. Otherwise, the whole thing will shrink down in proportion to the size that you type in here. So let's unlink that and then type in 280 pixels. Sweet. Okay, so we've got the white block over here. We're going to center align it. And that looks perfect. So we're going to be basing the look on the logo brand and how it looks on a white block over here. So let's bring in a text block. Dragging one big text block. What we're going to be doing is make the text just a viewable color. Okay, going over to your document where you're going to be having your product name or the package name. In this case, it's going to be Nourishing Plus. So we've got the text block over here, all capital. Let's center align this block. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over here to libraries. So we want to base the color on one of these brand colors. So we're going to be choosing nice gray. You'll see that it's been applied. So what you'll also be able to do is when you work on a brand's text, you'll also be able to import the character styles into the libraries panel. So what I've done, I've imported the size and layout of this Nourishing Plus text from another document. So then you'll be able to just click on it. It will be able to bring up the size that you selected in the other document. Double click, and because I clicked and dragged a text block, it will enable me to increase the size of the text block without squishing the text. So hold Alt. When you enlarge, it's going to be dragging the sizes towards the sides from the middle. Click on the side, and then we've got Nourishing Plus. So we're going to be center aligning this again. So I'm just going to be showing you quickly how to add a character style for your next project. So you've got your text and your style over here. It's going to be applying the color as well. So you have the text selected, you go over here to your libraries, add elements, and character style. This will be saving the size, the font, color, and anything that's related to the selection that you just made of the characters. So you've got the brand name over here, the product name, showcasing the product bundle name. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be adding in a description or a catchphrase or whatever the copywriter or yourself came up with. So let's press T, this shortcut for text block, click, drag. So you'll see that this still has the character style of the previous text element that you placed. So what you can do is you can just click on that, not double click, just select the element and then go over to your libraries panel, select a secondary character style that you got from the brand guide, and we'll shrink it down to that size. Okay, sweet. Just add that for space holder so long. Then you're going to go over, get the text that your copywriter or yourself gave you, and insert that. Control C, copy from another document, double click, Control V, paste. So you're going to be looking at visual balance over here. You'll see that the Y hangs out quite a lot underneath the 24-hour hydration. this might cause that you'd see, okay, well, there's a lot of blank space over here and over here. Then you'll take a look under the Y, there's not a lot of space. So you'll lean towards equalizing this block to the middle, but you still want a equal visual balance. So what we're going to be doing is just going to be selecting both, shift and click both. This will select both elements, and then you can actually press shift and down arrow, up arrow. This will actually not shift it pixel by pixel, but depending on your screen size, it will move it by 10 pixels, 20 pixels, depending, like I said, on your screen size. So shift, down arrow, tap it up a bit. Let's take a look at that. So what we want to also do is, before we move on to anything else, just make sure that all the text is properly aligned. Center align this. Also want to center align this. Okay, so we've still got our guides over here, and sometimes you don't want to remove the guides that you already brought in. So what you can do is you can just press Control double point. There we go. You can take a proper look at the design that you made. Let's move it a bit more down. Okay, sweet. So this is your text laid out on top of your images with the product name, the bundle name, and your logo. Okay, so this is where the artboard really shines. So what basically is going to happen now is we're going to be selecting the artboard and we're going to be duplicating it from the previous one. So what you can do over here, select the artboard, Control J. This will make a direct copy of the previous artboard that you just selected with all the elements included inside. Okay, so let's just give this a rename. So each artboard will also represent a still image within the GIF or MP4 that you'll be making. And it's basically going to be a rotation of the product images in a clockwise motion. So you're going to be selecting the bottom image, rotate it clockwise, this one goes up, image above that goes left, image above that goes down, and the image above that goes to the right. So as you'll see, all these rotated one block to the right via clock rotation. And when you do this, you just want to make sure that all the products that you showed do appear properly, because you don't want to have nice product photos and not actually show them properly. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selecting image, just click, shift click, drag it up, shift click, drag it down. Okay, so there we've got the images properly showing, and you're going to be making a copy of this one. Control J. Same story here, image 3. Okay, so once these are done, you want to just go through them again. I see that I've actually left a few product photos unaligned regarding to the view of the products. So it's going to be, you're going to be selecting it, shift click, drag it up. Perfect. Click, shift click. Cool. Here, same thing. Select the element, shift click. Same over here, click the element, shift click, drag up. Okay, so here we've got the 4 main base images that will be featured within our GIF or MP4, however you want to export it. So the next step is going to be exporting each artboard as an image. So this, because this isn't a normal export as PNG, because once you do that, it will actually export all the images at once. So what you got to do is you got to select each artboard on its own, and then actually press Alt Control Shift. Okay, so now you've got all the artboards with all your designs lined up properly. So these are basically going to be acting as the 4 images in the sequence that will feature within your GIF or your MP4. And what you're basically going to want to do is you're going to want to export each artboard on its own. So this is not going to be a basic export, quick export as PNG, because when you do that, you're actually going to be exporting all the images at once as a single image. But we want them separate because we're going to be adding them in a sequence. So what you're going to do is you're going to select the artboard, and then you're actually going to be pressing Alt Control Shift quotation marks. So this will actually select the single layer that you selected, or in this case, it is the artboard. It's going to select the whole design, and then you'll be able to select PNG, JPEG, or whatever your heart desires. We're going to be selecting JPEG. This is just to make it a bit easier on the machine or the export of the document. Quality quite high, 1080, 1080, 1080. Export. Okay, so let's find a file for this. YouTube design tutorial, image 1, save. Okay, so now we have all the images saved out. What we're going to be doing next, we're going to be making a new file that will be our working file for the GIF /MP4. So file new, going to be making it 1080 by 1080. Once again, going to be having artboards. That really doesn't matter, but you can just keep it that way, or you can remove it if you want. Resolution 72, color mode RGB. This is a very important part because this is made for screen specifically. So create. So over here, you're going to be given a blank white canvas already, and you're going to bring in the images that you saved out. Pull those into Photoshop, release. So these are going to be filling up the full artboard because you saved it out as 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. So you're just going to be selecting perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, you can delete the background over here. We're not going to be using that anymore. So what you can do is just deselect everything over here, minimize this, and then you're going to go to the Windows bar up top and select timeline. So over here, you're just going to be saying create frame animation. So what it basically is going to do now is it's going to be selecting a layer from each image. So for us, it's going to be 4 images. So it's going to pop up as 4 images over here. So how you do that is you've got the first image that's viewable. Going to minimize over here. Going to go to the right over here and then make frames from layers. So this will actually select all the layers that you have imported into this document, and it will now be able to be converted into a GIF after we set the times. So how you set the times is you select all of them, select one, press shift, got everything selected, and over here you go and click your selected time. So normally we like to go for 2 seconds when there's a lot of text, but you can also be very specific. Let's make it 1.5 seconds. Okay, so this will apply to each frame, and you can take a test look over here. Perfect. So you're going to go over here and then select convert to video timeline. So this will actually create it in, or convert it into a MP4 format when you're going to be exporting everything. You'll be able to take a preview by pressing space. Okay, so this is basically it. The final step is going to be going over here, right click here at the burger menu, render video. So over here, you'll be able to select the folder or the destination where you're going to be saving your file. Here we have our designated YouTube tutorial file. Select folder. Here you can select the name, design tutorial .mp4. Here we have a Adobe Media Encoder selection. The preset will be high, 1080 by 1080. This will be the export pixel and document size. FPS, you can adjust that to your liking depending on the size of the document, and render. And that's about it.